depending on which corners of the internet you find yourself on, there are plenty of different ways to find out where Lane Kiffin is going. Some say he's staying at Ole Miss, for sure. Some saying he's going to Gainesville to coach the Florida Gators, for sure. Others say he's going to LSU and Baton Rouge, for sure. It doesn't matter where you look, you see everything about Lane Kiffin because his coaching future has been the centerfold of what is going on in the world of college football. Welcome back to Southeast Sports Plus. Gerhard Mathangani, Patrick Walsh with you. Patrick, I find this drama really interesting because it really is threefold. You've said this for months now, that Lane Kiffin will be the highest paid coach going into next year, and I agree with that 100%. Now it's going to be what school is going to make him the highest paid coach. We've given our personal thoughts about probably what he should do, and the documentary obviously came out at a really interesting time to make you think one thing, that he might be staying. But there are some of these weird reports that he could be headed elsewhere, and then some sources that say that family could be steering him in a different direction.
Honestly, I think his mind changes every day about it, and my mind changes every day about if he is going to stay or not.
Yeah.
This morning or this afternoon, I know he had his appearance on the Pat McAfee show, and we were paying close attention. When I heard it, I was like, oh boy, is this going to be the LeBron, the decision 2.0? Is Lane going to announce it? But no, he was pretty much mum. He was acting a little bit weird, I thought, at first. You know, he's just kind of trying to, like, put on not really like an accent, but like kind of like acting a little bit in the beginning. And I was like, oh boy, he's gone. And then he brought in Kewan Lacey in to talk, and there was the report that Ole Miss gave him an ultimatum because they wanted to know, hey, are you going to coach us if we make the college football playoff? And we're going to give you until the Egg Bowl. He came out and flat out denied that even exists, but I don't think even if it does exist that he would admit that anyways.
Yes.
But this is a weird situation because we've been talking about it for a while now, and it's going to be the centerpiece. Now that James Franklin has a job, this is the centerpiece right now.
Right.
Lane Kiffin, where is he going to go? And you bring up the documentary, and it reminded me of, hey, he's been through this already at Ole Miss with the whole Auburn job.
Yes.
I don't know if he sees how Auburn has panned out since then. And making him be like, hey, I've already been through this. I chose to stay here, and the grass wasn't greener at Auburn. We've seen how the Tigers have panned out now. Makes me wonder, hey, do you think he's thinking of that again here?
It may be. And I think this is an interesting situation for a lot of different reasons. And I'm like you. I think that maybe, I don't know if his mind changes a lot, but and you have to kind of read the tea leaves. And maybe he's wanting to do all this on purpose. Maybe he wants everybody to speculate, from Pat McAfee to your common person that's living
to us.
To us, the common people that are living in
Hey, Lane,
in
if you're watching.
And I do think that there's a part of him that understands, and maybe he's even poking fun at the attention that all of this is getting.
Oh, he's getting so much attention.
For sure. And I think he knows it too. And he's been a great troll of everybody with using a social media account.
Yeah.
And if you look at his social media, his post literally this past morning of his devotional talks about making big decisions, and think about yourself as a 90-year-old making this decision. And even if one of the positives outweighs a laundry list of positives, you got to go with that choice. And it makes it seem, because you don't, if you're doing a direct parallel, you don't know if that one decision is the Florida Gators or that one decision is Ole Miss, and he's talking about it back and forth. Or if he just wants us all to do this mental exercise, and he has this grand plan right before the Egg Bowl to come out like Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Wolf of Wall Street and be like, I'm staying.
Yeah.
I'm staying. And so
I'm not leaving.
And maybe all of this is gearing up towards that. But he clearly understands his space, and it's not, to me, like, I think monetarily things will change. The only reason I think that anything will change is if he feels like he can win a championship at Inter-X school, because it's Florida and LSU. If he thinks he can win the championship at blank school before he can win it at Ole Miss, I think if you look at the current college football landscape, the answer to that is obviously no. Yeah, you have a chance to win it there at Ole Miss.
It's hard to justify that being the case, because I seriously see the Ole Miss Rebels. Yeah, they won't have a first-round bye, but I could seriously see them running the table and at least making the college football playoff semifinal. I think as of right now, some people have them projected to be the 6th seed. I think that's where they are going to land right now because I don't think Texas Tech is going to move from the 5 seed there.
Right.
Georgia will obviously move up with Alabama losing, which means they would host the ACC champion.
Yep.
And it could be Miami. It could be Georgia Tech. Who knows? But I think they win that game because the ACC has been so fraudulent. The ACC and the American both are the same in my opinion because it's like nobody actually wants to win. Nobody's trying to win that last spot. It just seems like all-out chaos right now.
Yeah.
But the 1-2 punch on offense has been just detrimental to literally any team that has played them.
Right, absolutely.
And now it seems like now it seems like the defense is coming along. I think they would play Texas Tech in the second round, and Texas Tech hasn't played anybody.
No, they haven't. And I would take Ole Miss in that game, and I'm wondering what that line would be, and try to find some potential lines of. I know that they're starting to make those potential lines of college football playoff, and finding out if this team played this team on a neutral site or at a home field, who would be the favorite. And I'd love to dive into all those matchups because I know that the combinations are endless going into that. As far as it relates to I want to chew on one point. As far as it relates to Ole Miss and this ultimatum, I think you brought up a good point. The fact that it's not, to me, even if it is true that I don't think he would ever admit it, and it actually serves him to say what he did on Pat McAfee today and come out and say that there hasn't been an ultimatum. I think it serves both parties. It serves Ole Miss and so serves Lane Kiffin. Let's just say it is true, though, that they gave him, even if it's a soft timeline. I don't know how much I like that play either. It just feels like you're walking a fine line here because it's like you said, you're Ole Miss. Like you haven't been here before. I just don't know if giving him an ultimatum is necessarily the smartest move.
Well, you have a guy that's the head of your program right now that is thought to be leaving for these prestigious SEC programs.
Right.
But the guy that's at the head of your program is making your program relevant for the first time since like the 60s.
Right.
The last time they won a national championship and could win a national championship for the first time in 60, 70 years. I don't know. I don't understand that. I think they're trying to lay some groundwork, but this is like a relationship, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like a dwindling relationship. You don't know what it's like right now.
Right.
Hey, like, what you doing? Oh, I'm going to visit these other guy friends. I'm going to send some of my friends to, scout out some of my other guy friends, a.k.a. I'm going to send my ex-wife and daughter reportedly spotted in Baton Rouge and another family member reportedly spotted in Gainesville.
Right.
That can't help unless... Again, it's Lane Kiffin. He could just be trolling.
He could be.
This would be the greatest troll of all time. And let me tell you, if you think Tennessee fans hated him,
oh gosh,
if he stays at Ole Miss, let me tell you, those Gator fans are going to be mad.
Oh, no doubt.
The LSU fans are going to be mad.
Yeah.
They're going to be mad at their own governor for trashing the own university.
Exactly.
I mean, goodness.
We got a chance to hear from Lane Kiffin. He talks about the rumors. I'll put in air quote, talks about them. Listen to it.
Yeah, I think the last chapter thing makes me feel like I'm like 80 years old, So I don't like being old, so I don't really like that part of the story that makes me feel like I'm on my last chapter. So I love what we're doing here. Today was awesome, and I don't talk about that stuff. And really, to even talk about it right now would be so disrespectful to our players and how well they played today. We got a lot of things going here, doing really well, and I love it here. So
it's a bit of a filibuster here, but the very last part of the question that was posed to him was, do you see yourself being I'm paraphrasing, do you see yourself being the head coach at Ole Miss next year? Period.
Yep.
That is a yes or no answer. Yes, I do see myself. No, I don't see myself. And he goes about it in this long way, and he does a great job. And the question said something about, posed something about him being old. And the moment he attacked that old part of it, and I knew that he brought the energy in the room up with just mentioning, it makes me feel like I'm 80, and then everybody started laughing, I felt like, okay, that got him off the hook of being able to answer the yes or no question that was put right in front of him.
Yeah, and the last chance, last dance type
Yes,
thing
yes.
where he's 80, and then he comes out and drops a devotional today about being a 90-year-old and what decision would you make.
Right.
I know he said that he has never made a decision based on money before. And obviously I don't think Jimmy Sexton really liked that he said that. But to me, I actually see a scenario where he's using this in his favor to try and drive up the marketing.
Yes,
price.
for sure. For sure.
And honestly, if he were to come out and say, yeah, I do see myself here at Ole Miss next year, I feel like that lowers his price a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But when you leave it open like that, it's like, okay, if I'm Ole Miss, I'm like, all right, panic mode is starting to go on. Like, I don't know what's going on. What is going to happen? Is Lane Kiffin going to be our head coach next year? This is a guy that's brought our program from the dumps up to, you can make the argument that they're in the S tier of the SEC.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's going to leave us for another program that's been in the S tier.
Right.
So we just got to throw the kitchen sink at him. We need to
Uh-huh.
throw all the money in the world at him to try to make him to stay. And I think it's a genius. If that's what he's doing, Lane, if you're watching, I obviously I don't live inside your brain, so like I can't accurately give an answer on that. But if so, kudos to you, because I mean if this whole coaching thing doesn't work out at some point, you could be an agent for a little bit.
No question, because he knows how to play the game and play it coy. Also, too, and I think a lot of people, they just think about the money aspect of it from the contract standpoint, but also too, I think that he also might want some assurances. If you just look at the top of the college football poll, when the college football poll comes out tonight, it'll be some form of Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama will be in there, Texas Tech. What do all these schools have in common? They put money, big money, into the college football programs. Ohio State, people were saying that's the 33rd professional team, 32 in the NFL, and then Ohio State a year ago. Do you talk about a team like Indiana? What they just pledged to not only Kirk Cignetti, but the football department overall. That's another one. Oregon.
Virginia Tech.
We know what they just did. Virginia Tech putting
$220 million.
Exactly. We're seeing what was happening with Missouri.
Yeah.
And a bunch of financial commitments. So it might just be, hey, we want some assurances that the commitments of all of our rivals, we don't even get to Texas A&M because Texas A&M has been spilling money for forever.
Yeah.
Texas A&M, Texas, Bama, all these places have like these huge 8 and 9 figure deals that they're pledging to football, and maybe they're just making sure that they get some bottom dollars from Ole Miss to find out, hey, are you in it in the exact same way? And Nick Saban has said this about LSU, and we've heard some other people in the know that Ole Miss has a little bit more money than people might give it credit for. And same thing with LSU, that Ole Miss has, like, hey, don't think that this is like a team that's pinching pennies and coupon cutting. This is a program that's got a lot more money than people give it credit for. So maybe it's like, hey, putting those dollars and those cents to make sure that it all works out for everybody.
Look, I'm gonna make a statement that I think a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on, but I don't really care because I firmly believe that Ole Miss is a better job than LSU right now, and Ole Miss is a better job than Florida because there's a secret X amount of dollars that are being poured into the Ole Miss program right now that I don't think anybody realizes, and just the mental aspect as well around the morale of the fan base.
Yeah.
What does the Florida fan base look like right now? They're angry.
Yeah.
They're desperate for trying to get something.
Desperate is probably the key word.
Your leash is so short. It was so short with Billy Napier.
Yeah. Mullen before then.
As well.
And Muschamp before then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The leash is so short in Baton Rouge as well. Because it's like, all right, well, besides Brian Kelly, all of our coaches, the last 3 of them, won national championships, won SEC titles. We need to win right now because we're LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, you're almost starting to see it with Bama a little bit here too. Oh, come on. Why is Kalen DeBoer losing some of these games? I'm so used to Nick Saban just winning out and just having perfect seasons and all that. Well, guess what? There's no such thing as a perfect season in the SEC anymore because the talent's so spread out.
Right.
So you either have to temper your expectations or just stop watching football at all.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Ole Miss, with the amount of money that they have, the commitment that I know if Kiffin stays, Ole Miss is going to give him basically whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss is going to be a program to be reckoned with for a long time. And honestly, I could see Kiffin building Ole Miss into a consistent program along the likes of LSU and Florida.
Right.
Again, the grass is not always greener on the other side. And I think with the fan base that loves him and has welcomed him in with open arms, I just see that being such an important factor in his decision and why Ole Miss is a better job.
Yeah.
I made the correlation with Ryan Day earlier last week and how he had to get 24/7 security after the loss to Michigan.
Right.
You don't want to have to deal with that.
No.
If you lose to Alabama at LSU, you're going to have to deal with that. If you lose to Georgia at Florida, you're going to have to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that. You're never going to really have to deal with that at Ole Miss.
Yeah. Now you won't. And I think one of the big things for Lane Kiffin is he understands that going in that the expectations that you could still win there at the same clip. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, hey, 30, 40 years ago, you had a ceiling at Ole Miss that fell just short of the national championship. Then you had to go to Bama, to Georgia, to LSU, to Florida to go win a national championship. And I think now all that has changed. And I think Kirk Cignetti signaled that when he signed the extension at Indiana, because I think at Indiana it was a certain thing, a certain way too. You had a ceiling at Indiana. It was like, you're going to always be good, but you weren't going to be able to compete with the big boys. You were never going to compete with Ohio State and Michigan and all that. Now they are, and now they're beating those teams.
I think if these jobs were open last year, I could make a little bit of a different case for it because Ole Miss obviously missed the college football playoff last year. The one you could pinpoint the loss to Kentucky as the reason why. And I mean, I don't know. It's hard to compare Trinidad to Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart's a little bit of a better quarterback than him. So it makes you wonder what Jackson Dart would do this year. But now that they're actually competing for the college football playoff, I mean, they're pretty much a lock at this point. They've won all the games they needed to. If Oklahoma keeps winning, that looks like a huge win no matter what happens in week 14. I don't see him leaving right now in the midst of – and it would do more harm than good if he left after the college football playoff. Because then you can't do anything with the transfer portal.
Right, yeah. And of course, we already have those windows, the parameters already in the transfer portal. And Kiffin is the transfer portal king, so to speak.
He is the king.
Yeah, so we'll see if anything shakes out over there with Coach Lane Kiffin. If he does end up making that move, whether it's to Gainesville or to Baton Rouge, or if he just stays there in Oxford. The Lane watch is certainly on, though.